Now, to one of our headline stories, and President Akufo-Addo has lifted the ban on borders for cross-border trading activities to resume. This follows the declaration by the World Health Organization that COVID-19 is no longer a global health emergency. Take a listen to him.
There are 10,566,420 fully vaccinated people. That is 52.7% out of the 20 million target we had set, with 4,599,883 persons having received booster doses. In the light of these facts, the COVID-19 task force, which I chair, met on 17th May and took some far-reaching decisions on the measures we have put in place for the management of the pandemic, which were announced by the Ghana Health Service on 19th May. The most important of these decisions was that the COVID-19 pandemic was over in Ghana. Thus, all the outstanding COVID-induced restrictions at our airports and all entry points have been lifted, and we're back to the pre-COVID situation as far as health entry requirements are concerned.
President Akufo-Addo there, and we've been joined by the president of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, Dr. Joseph Abing, for his perspective on this. Pleasure you could join me, sir, on Business Live. Now, I'm pretty sure you watched the president yesterday. What does this easing of the border restrictions in terms of transportation of goods mean to the business community? How are your members reacting to this news?
Yeah, it's good news. At least now we are going to be spared by the fact that government always quotes COVID-19 as the problem of the economy. Now that we all know that we are over this menace, then of course we have to also give a different approach of our economy and stop using the COVID as an excuse. And that's if there's any organizations or people who have suffered the most of the effect of the pandemic, it is the business community. And that were even made to pay taxes on this COVID, which is very unfortunate. There's no precedent anywhere in the world that while businesses are suffering under the effect of COVID, they were still made to pay COVID tax anywhere in the world except Ghana. That's why we are expecting that the COVID tax is a one-purpose tax that was brought to cushion the effects of the COVID. Once we are over it, then of course we should remove it without any excuses. The taxes that we pay here is too much. The number of taxes that we pay in Ghana is overburdening the business community to the extent that we are uncompetitive in the sub-region. You remember the three taxes that were imposed on us. They are obnoxious and all that. These are all not helping us. We said that the tax component, the tax to GDP in the sub-region, ours is the lowest among the sub-region. It is true, because ours is, we cannot comply with ours because the excessive taxes that we pay. The others, other countries, their taxes are not as many as ours. And therefore, there's affordability here, and compliance is very high. So it's due to compliance in these countries that have made them to achieve tax to GDP being higher than that of Ghana. So we don't have to be increasing these taxes. And if we are done with the COVID, then of course we're expecting that the COVID levy, which has no precedent anywhere, should at least be taken off the table.
Now, I want to find this from you. Now that we've seen the restrictions lifted, how does this translate into reduction in the prices of goods? Because during the COVID-19 time, we saw prices of goods going up due to the rigorous checks your members had to undergo, which of course came to you at a cost. So now that it's been lifted, are we to see some reduction in the prices of goods?
Prices of goods and services are tied up to the economic indicators, exchange rate, interest rate, and the inflation. So if there's no improvement here, then of course we are not going to see any improvement in the prices positively to affect the consuming public. It's as simple as that. So we have to do everything possible to reduce the cost of doing business, and that we don't have to do unnecessary speculation that price is going to go down or up. Prices are tied up to these indicators that I've mentioned. If inflation is high, if interest rate, cost of borrowing is over 40%, if exchange rate is also high, it's very volatile these days. It goes down and it goes up. There's no stability in there. If there's stability, then of course it will also affect prices positively.
All right, so do you hold the view that in as much as the border restrictions have been lifted now, it doesn't mean that there shouldn't be the necessary checks before any goods are transported into the respective countries to check the importation of substandardized goods?
But we should also know that even during the COVID time, there was business as usual. So this one doesn't bring anything new. And so I don't expect anything that is coming out of this restriction, because business has been usual since 2021, thereabout to date. Yeah.
Finally, let me pick your views on the maintenance of the COVID-19 health recovery levy. I know you've touched extensively on that, but really, how are you going to comply? Would you, of course, you would have to. I don't know what that would mean to you, translated into the cost of production and what have you, thereby, increasing prices as well.
It is already part of our cost component, because it is an old tax since 2021, and it is a part of our cost component. So once the government is maintaining, then of course it will be passed on to the consuming public, and that's the very important thing. That's why when you started talking about the COVID restrictions being lowered, I just centered on that, because I believe that when we are done over with the COVID, then of course the COVID levy, we don't have any precedent anywhere, and it should be taken off the table. Already there are new taxes that are being imposed on us. When is the business community going to have some respite in terms of tax payment? It's very important that we do not do one-sided economy, that all that we seek in the economy is to raise revenue, while we do not think about the growth of businesses. If you do not think about the growth of businesses, how do you even enhance on your revenue? But business will grow, and then you can have more of the revenue that you seek. So we have to balance. Otherwise, that's why we keep on piling these taxes, and we are not even getting the worth of the revenue that we seek, because you are stifling the growth of businesses. How do you get even more? You won't get more. So we have to put the whole thing on the scale and balance it. Whether we should keep on piling the taxes and then suppress the growth of businesses. Is that what we do our economics here?
Is this something you intend pursuing to ensure that government, take a look at the levies now that the pandemic is over? So really, what's the essence of it, or taxing you with it? So do you think you would pursue, or what plans do you have in that regard to have it scrapped? Yeah,
already we are seeking stakeholder engagement regarding the trade taxes that were imposed on us. With regard to those taxes, it's not that business community relaxed for government to have its way. We were rather trapped because of the conditionality of the IMF, and that if that one is part of the conditionality, then we're being cautious not to throw the whole thing out, because government have admitted that they need the IMF to rescue the economy. And then I think that's the general understanding of the Ghanaian public, that we need the IMF. So we have to be cautious and then make sure that we do not spoil. That's why we do not overly agitate over and the trade taxes. But now that the IMF deal has gone through, we'll still pursue government and dialogue with government so that at least in the mid-year budget, we can make some revisions so that businesses can also have respite. We believe that any proposal that we give to IMF, because they do not seek the destruction of businesses, we can still go on the table, discuss with IMF to see how some of these taxes will be lowered to pushing the businesses in the country.
We are grateful, Dr. Joseph Obeng, for your time here on Business Live.